water management. She has published more than 80 peer-reviewed research papers in national and international journals, 17 conference papers, 6 books chapters, 30 popular articles, and 12 technical bulletins. I also co-authored one book on climate change, which received the esteemed Dr. M.S. Randhawa Best Book Prize in 2018 from ICAR. She has underwent 2 months advanced training at Ohio State University and was a visiting faculty at the University of Gulf, Canada. Dr. Bhavija has guided students at BTech, MTech, and PhD level. She is also actively associated with the extension activities of the university. She is life member in various professional and academic societies and had been Joint Secretary Indian Society of Remote Sensing Ludhiana chapter and is currently Secretary Punjab chapter of Indian Society of Agriculture Engineers. Today, she has consented to deliver a talk on monitoring and management of groundwater resources for water secure future. Thank you. Can Madam start?
Yeah. So good evening to all present. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me on this webinar and allowing me to give the presentation here. And I would also like to thank Dr. Vishwanathan for giving such a elaborative introduction. So I'll start with my presentation. So is the slide visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so my topic of presentation is monitoring and management of groundwater resources for water secure future. So I've been working on Punjab state since 2004 when I joined as assistant professor, and I was in the scheme that is All India Coordinated Research Project on Irrigation Water Management, which was formerly known as AICRP on groundwater utilization. So my research focus has been always on groundwater, and you can see in this slide I have shown the map of Punjab with the rivers and the alluvial plains. Now this is the river Beas, this is the river Satluj, and this is the river Ghaggar. And we have been trying to make these resources, the water resources, the groundwater resources, more visible to the stakeholders. So I'll share my presentation. So if some of the indicators of agriculture development in Punjab, this generally I give this as a first slide. So in this, it gives a very clear picture. Like in 1966 and 67, if we look at the net sown area, and if we compare it with the 2023-24, there has not been much change. But the percent irrigated area has increased from 58 to 100%. And if we look at the area that is irrigated by wells, it has increased. By canals, it has decreased. And area under rice wheat, it's a well-known fact that it has increased. So it has the area under rice has increased by almost 10 times, and wheat has doubled. Similarly, the yield in rice and wheat, it has also tripled during the from 1966 to 2023. So one of the major concern has been that why there's a depletion. The depletion is due to the increase in number of wells and decrease in canal irrigated area. So there has been a widespread shift from canal to groundwater based irrigation. So from 1.3 million, it has come out to 0.7 million. So 53% area has decreased, and the maximum decrease has taken place in the upper Bari Doab, like in the districts of Gurdaspur, Amritsar, and Taran. And if we look at the rainfall, so there was a dip in the rainfall in the decade, but now the rainfall is comparatively higher. Now, this line shows the normal rainfall. But if you look at the monsoonal trends of the rainfall, so in the last 2 decades, excuse me, in the last 2 decades, 17 years out of the last 20 years, there was deficit in the monsoon rainfall. And that coincides with the paddy season. So the pressure on the groundwater resources increased. So if we look at the water balance of the state, so the annual water availability from the dams is 14.8 BCM. From the rainfall, considering the average rainfall, it is 26.3 BCM. From the STP water, it comes out to be 1.26. From the irrigation return flow, it is 10.7, and total water available, that is 53.06. And the demand that is from all the sector is 66.12. Majority of demand, as already discussed, it is 94% is in agriculture, leading to a deficit of 13.06 BCM. That is the pressure on the groundwater resources. So this slide I generally this slide also I present. Now this is the graphic that has been developed by the British Geological Survey, and it has been published in Nature Geoscience. And we can see that in 1900 the water levels were very deep, were vaguely deep, and in entire northwest India. And after the canalization, the water came up. So, and if you look at the present, due to the intensive cropping system and the tubulification, the water has been falling. So there's a silver lining that is there, that we can recharge our aquifers. So that is the silver lining here that we see from the slide. So considering the fact, so this slide highlights our multi-dimensional efforts in visualizing the groundwater resources. So we have been combining the in situ data. We have been using the advanced groundwater modeling tools. We have been using, presently we are using the satellite data also. And then subsurface tools also we have been using to make this resource more and more visible and to get a clearer picture of underground resources. So I'll discuss one by one. So first, and the foremost step when we want to move towards the sustainability of any resource, we need to know what is happening to the resource. So we are proud to say that these classified maps, these colorful maps that you are seeing, they were first developed by PAU, published by PAU. After that, you have seen plethora of these type of maps in the literature. So these colorful maps, they clearly depict the scenario of groundwater levels, which I'll not be discussing because everybody knows it now. And but we have been analyzing on the state basis, on the zone basis, whether it is agroclimatic zone or whether it's a water resource zone, or on the seasonal basis, how monsoon, non-monsoon is affecting the water levels. And you can see that initially monsoon used to recharge our groundwater aquifers, but now lately that effect has diluted, and we are facing as I already told you, that rainfall has also decreased in the monsoon period. We are facing the decline in the monsoon period, which is expected to recharge. And apart from not only limiting ourselves to groundwater, but also understanding how this is impacting our environment. We have done some work on that also. So we have correlated how emissions are being increased with the depleting resources, and what are the necessary emissions that are required to attain a higher yield, and what are the unnecessary emissions that the state is going. So, so we have been actively publishing articles on the growing crisis from time to time in terms of research publications, in terms of technical bulletins, in terms of popular articles. And now we can say that everyone talks about it, at least in Punjab. So while we were mapping these resources, we found that there's a lack of well-structured observation network. And what is the best interpolation technique to make these maps? So we did some modeling. So we found out that the Gaussian model was the best to interpolate these resources. And then we also found out, like, there were 237 locations where the observation wells need to be installed to have a more accurate map of the groundwater levels in the state. And at certain locations, we've also found the redundant wells. So if anybody is interested, can go through the publication. So uh, information is the key. I mean, what information we are delivering to the farmers is the key. Now, if we see, this is the map that has been created by the Central Groundwater Board. This map, they are giving it now on annual basis. Earlier it used to be 5 years, then it came to 3 years, and now it is on annual basis. So they classify the blocks as safe, semi-critical, critical, and overexploited. I'll not go in the definition because I suppose that the audience do know that this the definition. So, but if we talk of Punjab itself, the blocks that have been classified as safe, they are actually not safe because the water is not fit for irrigation. So initially when we came up with the idea of making this map, now this map has been distributed to the farmers to understand how the water is fit and what are the critical blocks and what are the safe blocks. So you can see that these blocks, they are not suitable for the agriculture. So then we extended our work and we saw how, like, with the deepening of water table, is there any effect on the quality? And then we overlaid this, we developed a integrated water quality index and overlaid it on the exploitation map, and then we created a new map. So to give a clearer picture of whether the block is safe or and exploited, or whether the block is safe or poor quality, or whether the block is safe and good quality. So that was the idea behind it. So once we also we felt that there's a need to evaluate, like we are looking at the groundwater, then there's a need to evaluate whether our land and the resources, they align with whatever the agroecological potential is there. Actually, our former vice chancellor, they said, like, there's a lot of change in climate and the resources, and whatever the agroclimatic zoning we have been doing in the past or we are using, so that needs to be modified. So like there may be a shift in that. So depending, so what we did, we used the AHP technique to see agro-eco resource zonation. So in this, we use the climate parameters, we use the soil parameters, we use the groundwater parameters, and then we came up with this map, which tells us the complete picture, like only 30% of Punjab's land is suitable for rice. And we can see specific locations where we need to go for fallow or the crops that require minimal attention or that are tolerant. Like this red zone is the zone where we can go for gram, groundnut or barley. And this second zone, that is the that is the light green zone, that is ideal for maize, wheat, oilseeds, ragi, pulses, soybean, and sunflower. And the zone 3, that can be used for uh, maize, cotton, wheat, oilseed, flowers, pulses, and vegetable. And this is the area that we propose for the basmati or the basmati rice or the rice. Apart from this, we have been doing a lot of modeling work. So I will be presenting the outcomes of one single study, which we have done in collaboration with University of Cambridge. In this, we tested different scenarios, and we found out, like, the scenario 1 was like we will not increase any the number of tube wells. So in that case, business as usual, that they call this area, this will the selected study area will have a fall rate of 52 centimeter per year. And in the scenario 2, we increase the number of tube wells according to the historical trend, and we found out that the fall rate can increase in that case up to 180 centimeter per year. And sorry, in the scenario 3, we increase the canal supplies but maintain the current pumping rate. Then also there will be fall, but it will moderate. And if we increase the canal supplies and then put a ban on the number of tube wells, but obviously we decrease the pumping, then we may go to a sustainable scenario. And apart from this, another scenarios that were tested was like there is the government is working on the use of STP for irrigation. So the if we use all the STP water in the selected study area, it will reduce the groundwater abstraction by 3 to 4%. So that was the outcome. So now coming to groundwater recharge, we know that it is very, very important, and the Central Groundwater Board, they have launched 2 key initiatives under this effort, that is, they are known as Jal Sanchay and Jal Bhagidari. Now the Jal Sanchay is to augment groundwater resources through artificial recharge, and the key components they include, one is the construction of recharge structures, and second is the revival of traditional water bodies and village ponds. Third is the rainwater harvesting in both rural and urban areas. And fourth is the soil moisture conservation techniques to increase percolation. And then is watershed development for long-term groundwater recharge. Now these uh, the schemes, they are being geotagged also, and in many of the studies they have highlighted the usefulness of these recharge structures. But how much water to recharge, when to recharge, and where to recharge, these are the questions that need to be answered. So Central Groundwater Board has identified the area suitable for recharge on the basis of 2 factors, that is the water table depth and the groundwater level fluctuations. So but that methodology misses many of the factors that are important for groundwater recharge. So we gave novel technique of sequential AHP for finding out the best recharge zone, and the technique was complete in the sense that the sensitivity analysis was done and the validation was done. So based upon the outcomes, it was found that nearly 63% of the areas is suitable for recharge in Punjab, that is belongs to high to very high category, and 20.4% area where the recharge should be avoided. And you can see that in the color that is red, and high to very high is in the green and the light green color. So another aspect of Jal Sanchay is the revival of the village ponds. So village ponds, where they are, that they, the location of the ponds, we need to identify where they are. So our department developed a methodology by which we can geotag the pond site with 90 to 95% efficiency using the NDPI, that is the normalized difference pond index, using the remote sensing data. So, and this NDPI, if we want to calculate the area of the village pond, it gives about 65 to 70% efficiency. So this is very useful for the soil conservation department, which is taking on the work of rejuvenation of the village ponds. And this study we are extrapolating to the entire Punjab also. So we do not restrict ourselves only to desktop studies, but we have also done extensive field work. Our department designed this rooftop rainwater harvesting structure. So this in this we propose a horizontal filter. So the advantage of this horizontal filter is that it cleaning is very easy. Its cleaning is very easy. I'll take a break because I think my laptop is needs the charging. Just I'll take a break for one minute, 1 second.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay now. So now this technology, it has a potential to recharge 135 million meter cube of water annually. And if you can see how simple the structure is, there's a desiltation tank, there's a filtration tank, outlet chamber which is connected to the recharge well. And the cost of the structure is around 1.4 lakh, and uh, till date about 1,000 such structures have been installed in the state in consultation with Punjab Agriculture University. So we saw that the civil construction part of the structure hinders the adoption. So our department came up with the screen filter that has the capacity to filter about 7 to 8 liters per second of water, and the screen filter is a 150 micron, and the removal efficiency comes out to be approximately 80%, and it is fitted with a storage tank, and then the surplus water is then passed to a bore well of 6-inch dia, And one of the advantage of this system is it requires very less cleaning, and other is the cost is comparatively less, about 50% less in comparison to the earlier structure. So as the water table in the state has gone deep, most of the existing wells that were used for irrigation, they became abandoned. Now, the water from these agriculture fields or the excess canal water can be diverted to these wells. Now, these wells are, once they are cleaned, they, these wells can be used as a source of recharging groundwater. The issue is you have to divert the water from the field to the well, and the well is generally at a higher elevation. So we need to create a channel. We need to channelize the water, and then we need to provide a desiltation chamber, and then this well recharges about 8 to 10 liters per second of water. It's generally about 5 feet or 6 feet that we have seen. So this is general view of the abandoned well, but this requires cleaning of the wells and then diversion and desiltation structure, and then you can connect it to the recharge well. The surplus water can be diverted to the abandoned well. So another problem that almost all the cities are facing in India, that is the storm water management. Every season we see there's a big issue of storm water management. So I think we are seriously doing something wrong in managing the storm water, and we need to radically change our approach. So low impact development structures, these are a paradigm shift from the earlier conventional systems. So these are basically engineered structures. These are designed to mimic the pre-development era, and in this you can see each these are the bioretention structures. We tested around 9 bioretention structures at our campus, and we saw there was a significant reduction in runoff volume as well as improvement in quality. Each of the cell, it is at one point, it is a storage tank of 4500 liter. Apart from recharging the groundwater depending upon the conductivity of the lower strata. So if we propose these type of structures in line, a single structure won't work, but in line if they are made, they are very useful. And generally, if we look at the drainage system, the National Highway Authority is making the drainage system, but it gets clogged. But in this case, the advantage is the plants, they treat the water also, and the roots, they help to um, increase the infiltration rate. So clogging does not occur easily in these structures and requires minimum maintenance. So then we came up with the idea of automation of the groundwater resources. We thought, like, if each well becomes a well monitor, and the entire data that can be collected on the cloud, the system will behave as the system will become a surveillance tool for the central agencies, as well as because the data is available to the user, so he knows how much water is in my bucket. So it will become a awareness tools also. And at the same time, the such type of system can give insights on the groundwater recharge and discharge mechanism, which are very difficult otherwise to understand. So one of our students, they made this smart groundwater monitoring system with a minimal cost of about 14,000. And in this, he tweaked the digital water level indicator using this encoder, relay, Arduino, and this GSM module. And the system used to take a reading once in a day, because we don't require a very frequent reading of groundwater levels. So we are still working on this system. We are doing something good, very good in this aspect of digital transformation of groundwater. We are planning. We have submitted some proposals also. We are hopeful to get funds on this. Then this was on the, like I can say, you to manage the resources, we can either go for the supply side management or the demand side management. So my whole presentation that was on the demand side, on the supply side management. So on the demand side management is how can we decrease the demand is CAU has recommended many of the technologies. Like in 2007, we came up with the laser leveler. In 2009, Punjab Subsoil Preservation Act. In 2010, we came up with DSR. Then there was a drip irrigation system. Then the short duration varieties. Then recently we came up with subsurface drip irrigation system. Then Tarvatar DSR. And then the government also came up with the strict groundwater extraction and conservation directions for industries. So what is the impact? Like we say, we came up with this, we did. So what is the impact of this on the water table? Now, if we look at, this was one of the work which we did because of uh, our former vice chancellor wanted to see what is the impact of the technologies that we are proposing to the farmers. So we created a modeling study and we found out that if all the rice was paddy was transplanted on 15th May, the fall would have been 1 meter. And if all the paddy is transplanted on in the month of June, it is again 56 centimeter, and in the month of July, it comes to 50 centimeter. And what was the impact of, we took date of transplanting as an intervention because they were the most effective one, short duration varieties as the intervention, then laser leveling as the intervention. Then because there was increase in rainfall, we took the impact of rainfall also. So we found out, like, if there was no intervention, that the fall would have been more than 1 meter per year on average basis for Punjab state. But due to the date of transplanting, there was 22 centimeter reduction in the fall rate, 17 due to the short duration variety, around 10 due to laser leveling, and advantage due to rainfall was 1.6 centimeters. So there was a total reduction of 50 centimeter, and due to which the fall rate we are able to record as 56 centimeter, which would have been otherwise 103 centimeter per year. So this is reflected in terms of water table. So without intervention, this is the present scenario, and this is the impact of different interventions. This is without any intervention, the fall would have been 23.2 centimeter, 23.2 meter instead of 17.1 meter, which it is today. And due to Subsoil Preservation Act, it controlled from 23 to 20. And if we look at short duration varieties to 18.4, and then rainfall, it had an impact of 1 meter. So that is all shown in the graph. So that is from my side. Apart from this, we are working on many other things, like we are trying to see how the paleo channels can be used for recharging the groundwater. We are trying to identify the paleo channels, and we have proposed a project to the Punjab government for that also. And then we are trying to see the aquifer connectivity, which has on from within the Punjab state, in which direction the connectivity is the most. And then we have been using the gray satellite data also. And then we are as we have done in the agro eco resource zone, we are finding out the best areas for uh, for the basmati, for the DSR. So that all work is in progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaur. It's very interesting topic. We all enjoyed. I have two questions now. Dr. Rajkumar Jora, please. Dr. Rajkumar, you have to unmute yourself. We cannot hear you.
Okay, so it was a good presentation overall. Since our major concern is the decline in water table.
Yeah.
So, and we have seen the factors in your presentation that the area under rice has increased. In case, suppose we shift from the puddle transplanted rice to DSR, don't you think that the area will may further increase under rice cultivation? Because now puddling requires lot of water, so they can, depending on the availability of the water, they could only grow in a certain area. And once that reduction, the peak demand will be reduced, area horizontal expansion may be there in the area under rice. Number two, you have also said that the one of the technology suggested by PAU are the short duration variety. Even people from PAU now realize that because of the introduction of the short duration variety, there is third crop, spring maize, coming into picture. And instead of decreasing the extraction, overall there is an increase in the extraction because of the third crop coming into picture. Another aspect is propagating drip irrigation to check the decline in water table. Basically, when we say water saving in drip irrigation, it saves only the deep percolation part of the surface irrigation. And deep percolation can never be responsible for decline in the water table. So drip irrigation, in a short term, 1 year pumping may be less and we can see positive results, but overall in the long term, it could not be too beneficial. What are your views, I think?
Dr. Samanpreet, can you reply his question?
Yeah. I'll try.
Whatever you can. No problem.
Yeah. Sir, thank you, sir. So very nice questions. So one, you said that DSR, like we are promoting DSR. So if you look at the issue is for the groundwater decline is the increase in the pumping. So we are, when we say DSR, so, and if we consider compare it with the puddled rice, so if these puddled rice, the water does not percolate down. So whatever the rain is there, the recharge is very less as compared to the direct seeded rice. So if we are converting the method to the direct seeded rice, so in that case we assume that our groundwater recharge is more, so the return flow will be more. We have already seen in one of the study that there was a 10% increase in the groundwater recharge as compared to the puddled rice. And over the years, if we are continuing with the puddled rice practice, it is unsustainable. And other thing is, over the years, we have, with the climate change, we have seen that the monsoon is very erratic, and the events, the rainy days have decreased, and the intense rainfall has increased. So going from rice to any other crops, be it cotton, be it maize, it will not sustain. So the crop diversification has to be taken consciously, because when you look at Punjab, entire 32 lakh hectare becomes the basin. So that is the basin method for groundwater recharge. So if we are converting from, if we are shifting from the puddled rice, that fine layer that comes on, if that is not there, all the rainwater is expected to recharge the groundwater. So that was my first slide, where I showed that ours are the alluvial plains which have a very good capacity to recharge groundwater. So regarding the short, I think the first I gave some answer about the first question.
Yes.
Second is the short duration varieties. Yeah, it is true that the spring maize has become a problem for Punjab state. So the PAU is advocating spring maize only in conjunction with drip.
Okay. Good.
And third is the drip irrigation and the deep percolation. Rightly said, sir. Drip irrigation will reduce the water usage. One is will not extract the water, but then we when we are going for drip irrigation system, the other area around the drip, that is recharging the groundwater.
I
So
think
return flow from the rainfall will increase.
yes.
In
We
that
we all.
case.
I think we have one more speaker also. We'll discuss after the speaker is over. But I'll allow the two questions. People are waiting for short questions because we all know most of the processes here. We are all scientists, most of the people. I think question, Dr. Gajan Singh. Next question, please.
No, you can skip me. I will wait for later.
Professor Tiwari, K.N. Tiwari.
Yeah, whether I'm audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. My question actually is success of recharge structures. Majority of the structures which are constructed, these are prone to, because filters are not effectively working, and this has been observed when several state government has taken up, and we took this study long back, and I found that most of the structures, they are defunct. That is the thing. So whether Dr. Kaur, can you please tell us that is it only your modeling study, or you have taken observation from these structures, whether it is a storm rainwater or from the irrigation canal water?
Sir, I have personally visited many structures, officially also visited many structures. So in all the structures, maintenance is the issue. The government builds the structure, but the maintenance part has been skipped. But now they are, even the Central Groundwater Board, they are taking care of the maintenance part also. So the failures are expected to reduce in future.
I just want to add one line to it. I've seen many of the structures in Maharashtra. They put the recharge pipes in the center of the canal. When the flood came, it washed it away. So again, the problem of maintenance is a big issue. I think we'll stop here. We'll continue the questions. We have enough time for questions afterwards. We have second speaker waiting. I'd like to invite Dr. Viswanath. Please introduce the second speaker, please.
Yes, sir. Today I am much privileged to introduce Dr. T.R. Kesavan, a well-known industry personnel in our profession. He started his career with his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from University of Madras. As a graduate engineering trainee in 1973 in Tractor Engineers Limited, a joint venture of Caterpillar and Larsen and Toubro at Mumbai. He raised to the position of head of marketing department as a franchise and product head at BSc Muscat. He added 23 new franchises in construction and agricultural product lines. A loss-making division was turned profitable with his intervention. Joined as Senior Vice President, Marketing and Product Strategy in Tuffe Limited, the third largest manufacturer of tractors in the world and the largest exporter of tractors from India to more than 52 countries. Dr. Kesavan is the Group President of Tuffe Limited in his current position. He represents his organization in Tractor Manufacturing Association of India as President, Chairman of National Agri Council FICCI, Governors, Chief of Mission and Chair Agri Commodity West Bengal, Director NSDC International, Technical Committee of the Tractor Manufacturers Association, and Executive Committee member of Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Indian Australian Chamber of Commerce, Tractor and Mechanization Association as first president and managing committee member, Governing Council of Automotive Research Association of India. He is gold medalist during his graduation and completed a sandwich course in University of Michigan, USA. He has been awarded honoris causa DSc by Harper Adams University, a public university in Newport, United Kingdom. He is member in many professional societies. To name a few, Fellow Institute of Directors, Indian Society of Agriculture Engineers, member in Society of Automobile Engineers and ASEAN Association for Agricultural Engineering. Through his organization, he is much supportive to academics through students' internship and collaborative research. Today, he is with us to share his experiences on stakeholders collaboration in water management. Thank you.
I would like to request Dr. Kesavan, if
Thank
there is, yeah, please.
Let me
Uh,
share
I-
the slide. By the time, let
Please.
me thank. I think we have to take this slide off so that I can share it. Yes, thank you. Hope, sir, you can see my slides.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. First of all, thank you for the introduction. And I'm actually happy that I could share some of my, I'm going to call it some of my experiences, some of the things what I've seen during my travel, some of the things what we did on our own, and certain thing what has been happening all over the world as much more learning points, because Dr. Samanpreet Kaur has already touched about two very important points is measurement. That's, I think it's a simple word is measurement. Let me come down to my first slide. I think if you do not measure, first of all, I think let me start. If you do not value water, I don't think you'll never save it. I think that is the biggest problem I've been noticing. In other words, if you do not have 1 minute, let me move my this thing out because sorry. Are you still able to see it? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Can you see that?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
1 minute. I have a problem because suddenly I'm
Can I-
not able to see the presentation. So let
I
me
can,
redo it.
I can present it if you want.
No, let me redo that presentation. I think
Okay.
what happened is that. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. See, what I'm trying to say is, I think one of the biggest challenges I've noticed, not only in India, but I also when I travel into the various countries is, if you do not put a value for the water, give me one good reason why should you save it. I think this has been a problem very typically in India also. So that is something I've been always seen seeing and watching, because what I notice in my life is if you don't value, you don't measure. If you don't measure, you will never improve. And if you do not improve, you don't even think of conserving. And if you do not conserve, the quantity, and then again you don't measure it, and then again you don't try to apply it and consistently opt for opportunity for improvement, I think we are in a serious problem. Now, even when Dr. Samanpreet presented it, end of the day, you realize despite the amount what we save, we are still continue to lose the groundwater level. So the question is, instead of having a serious problem X years, you may probably move it to X plus Y years. So unless you have a positive recharge, many things what you do is only a stopgap measure. And other thing which again and I noticing it is unless you create a bottom up methodology, because many a time we don't do a bottom up methodology. And this is also noticed in some of the government schemes, unless it is bottom up, and we also very specifically been told by Dr. Kaur that one of the biggest problems what you notice is you build something, you don't maintain it, so it's not useful. Very typical example, what even seen in the Happy Seeders case. I mean, great movement. You gave it almost literally free. And in the process, when you wanted to use it further, the machines were not operable. So I think this is a mindset problem. And if you do not, that's why I said put a value to it to make things change. So I'm going to touch upon three things. I think importance of for water and agriculture has already been talked about. And my specific presentation, I am going to concentrate on the total water management and where is an area both the stakeholders, that is government and the industry can come together to ensure something can happen in the long term. So fundamentally, when you measure, one is what is God given, rains. I think we have very limited control on certain things beyond, but definitely we have control on how to reduce the water losses. And how do we enhance crop productivity per drop? I think I am going with the PM's per drop more crop is a very sensitive statement. And our biggest issue is going to be how do we ensure sustainability for future? These are the typical things we discuss. So total components for a TWM is obviously water resource assessment, which I think Dr. Kaut talked about. Then, of course, efficient use of technologies, crop planning and diversification, something again been talked about. Soil and water conservation, irrigation management, and I think most importantly, policy and institutional support. Let me take 2 points out of it because a lot of things are known. Let me only take 2 points to expand this. Efficient use of technologies. Now, when we talk about water management, sometimes we also fundamentally forget that we can also manage by managing the soil better. Mulching is one of the, we always understood a good applying an organic plastic mulch actually retains higher soil moisture. Now, I'm not going to get into the probability of application. I'm only telling this as an example so that there are technologies, you pick what suits you. That doesn't mean every technology is going to be suitable for everybody. Conservation tillage, I think we really talked about, and I genuinely believe that, and though I come from a tractor manufacturing fraternity, I think the tractor and the traditional implement uses turns the soil so much, including our rotavator application. I think you're actually allowing the entire water to evaporate, whatever is there. So I think that is something we really, really need to rethink. How do I improve my cultivating practices? And how do I ensure that without actually moving too much of organic matter and not disturbing too much of soil, how do I do tillage? Conservation tillage is general term, but I think now there are very, very specific methods evolving through precision. But we tend to use the word conservation tillage because it sort of encompasses a lot of things and that's generically used. I talked to you about organic matter addition already. Now, I know this is a controversial topic. I know the Dr. Syed will actually say, "ये काम नहीं कर रहा है." But the reality is you require a soil moisture censoring methodology. The question is the sensors working? Will the sensors long last? Or is it actually going to help you on a long term? But let me come back to that. I think I'm going to answer some of those queries a little later. Weather forecasting tools, I will call it as a most important aspect. One area I think we need to definitely ask the government, and I think we need to improve a lot, is accuracy of the weather forecasting and also able to predict locality wise what can be the rain, what we will be receiving. I think it's going to be a very, very important step. I am aware that the respective ministries are trying to improve the weather forecasting methodology. See, the problem today, you may not be able to control where the weather is going today, because that's a very different topic. Then you'll talk about emissions, you talk about O2 depletion. That's a very different ballgame. But the question is, whatever is happening, can you at least say, hey, in this year, this is what is going to happen. In the next month, you can expect at least this much rain. That kind of an accuracy, I think, is very interesting. And I always believe, we travel a lot. And one of the things I notice, a later example I want to share is Australia can actually predict your weather close to an hour. They will tell you how much rain will come, how much temperature will be there, when the 41 will become 14. And there that 40 degrees can become 12 degrees in a couple of hours. Now, what is that capability they do? Why is that we are not able to do that kind of an accuracy? Honestly, I do not know, because I'm not the technology person there. I'm sure there'll be somebody here who will be able to tell us how it can improve, how it can predict better. One very important aspect. Automated irrigation systems controlled by sensor, I will come to later, because I know this helps. But again, this will only help if I can measure how much water a plant needs. Easier if it is a plantation, difficult if it is crops. The other thing is crop planning and diversification. I think something has been touched upon by Dr. Kaur already on this. Let me expand that. See, one thing I always like to look at it is, I think somewhere we are not probably looking, say, what can I do about the drought resistant varieties? Are you choosing a crop that requires less water? Example, Punjab, example, Maharashtra. I mean, some of the areas you have no business in having certain crops, because it's a guzzler. So why are you trying to get the crops put in the same place? Maybe past, maybe political, but end of the day, it is going to take away your water resources. So the question is, can I do? One good thing I noticed is the thrust in millets. What has been happening in certain parts of the country is, yes, it does not require that much of water. That's a big advantage. But it is not going to replace the other crops, because by volume or by sheer volume. Second is crop rotation and cover crops. I genuinely believe it improves soil health and water retention. It is the subject by itself. And I know that there are bigger experts, so I'm going to leave it as a thought process. Are we doing it? Are the farmers doing it? By and large, my answer to it is few of them in pockets, they do it. But if you take the mass, very few people do it, because the fundamentally what really happens is they want into one crops, complete it and go into the next crop. I think the crop rotation is not in their mind. And plus, it also means extra efforts. Then planning density management very clearly reduces the competition for water. Then other very interesting thing, which the crop calendars align with rainfall patterns. That is something I remember Dr. Kaur also talking about. Depending upon when I am going to harvest or plant, I may be able to manage my water retention. The next question is, first question comes is water resource assessment. Are we mapping the entire water resource in the country? Again, bottom up. I talked about, I love to do this village up. I want a genuine, I'm going to ask this question back to you later. My genuine feeling is, lot being talked about, people are working on, pockets. But if I look at it in totality, I have my own doubts here. Watershed planning, yes, it has been happening. It has had the same maintenance problem. So you do something, you don't maintain it, and after some time, it doesn't help you. And then people blame that, "Arey, ye kaam nahi karne wala hai." Next is, we talked about irrigation management practices. Now, one of the biggest things I've been noticing, I'm coming from South, canal lining is always a very, very difficult process as far as we are concerned. Once the canal is built, I think for the next 3 generations, we do nothing about it. Yes, it helps. Some people say it is actually helps in recharging the water. But actually, what I'm saying, it also is a cause of water loss because it may not reach the point what it is intended for, or the point what it intended for, what reaches will be much lower. So a question need to be thought through. Another thought process people talked a lot was, should it be a canal or large pipeline supplying water, because you can also prevent evaporation losses. I've not seen this happening, though a lot of talk is going on this. Even the government sometimes saying that, yeah, canal nahi chahiye, I think we should move water. Other questions asked is, canal tend to irrigate uh, lot of fields along the flow. So if it is going to be a pipe to water supply, a large pipes carrying water, how do you manage it, and what point to what point? And how do you then ensure that all the villages along the coast gets? It's not an easy topic, but I think worth the thinking, especially we are getting into a problem of a lot of water is also lost through evaporation. Let's not forget that. The participatory irrigation management, I'm going to tie it up with something else totally, which what I call as agriculture as service. We are going to come to that. Then the other question is, always I talk about transmission and application losses. See, the problem when it comes to farmer, I mean, let me start from that point. Farmer has got only two sides. He has enough water, he's not bothered about saving it. Sometimes he just doesn't get any water, he keeps cribbing about it. But the question I always ask, even our own friend farmers, when you have a lot of water, have you thought about using less, saving it, using it for recharge? Ensure that at least in your farm, forget others' farm for the time being, at least in your farms, you got so many bore wells. Are you using the bore wells also as a recharge pit back? Because you are anyway going to flow this water away. My own good friends of farmers, majority of the people I say, यार वो पानी आने का टाइम में हम ये क्यों करने का? Unfortunately, that's what I said. If you do not put a value for water, if you should not charge at least 1 rupee for say 100 gallons, 1,000 gallons, the tendency that Phukat mein mil raha hai, hum kyun karna, that mindset is not going to change in India. And I think this mindset has changed in many countries because they started saying, look, this is a commodity which is on shortage. When the commodity in shortage, I am going to price it. And the question is, we all know the water is a commodity on shortage. Why are we not pricing it? Why are we allowing free electricity for farmers so that they can pump any amount they want? There is you're removing every simple cost to it. So that, and then we come and cry, yeah, we are running on shorter, we are running on a shorter water shortage. I think certain things we need to think about this as scientists, as industrialists, and also as government. I think this is one area I really don't find happening. I think we talked about it, farm ponds and check dams, harvesting and storage are very many. We know that we have started into contour bunding and terracing, but gentlemen, like Dr. Kaur said, all these things when you do, the problem is if you don't maintain it, all things are not going to be effective after a couple of years. So the question is, while we measure utility, while we measure utilization, are we also measuring the state of maintenance? Is there a methodology to measure this? I don't think any government body has it. It's a very unfortunate situation that we spend so much of money. I mean, you take the example of roads. Why do you want to get into agricultural lands where it is no father, no mother situation? look at the condition of roads. You tend to build a good road, at least by statement. And once it gets damaged, the maintenance is so poor, within a couple of years, the road is gone. So unless you maintain something, you cannot expect the return on that investment what you have made. Treated wastewater and all, I'll come back. And in all the Nala, like Jacob, see, some of these things were there in the old India. There were enough ponds, either enough irrigation channels, which actually kept on refurbishing the groundwater. I'll give one example, which is my personal example. I'll take the example of city of Tamil Nadu. When we had a serious problem of water depleting in the city, the groundwater was going down. The problem in a city like Chennai, which is very close to the seashore, is once the groundwater depletes, the seawater starts seeping in. So almost every bore well became saltwater wells. One person, I still give her a lot of credit for it, is when Madam Jayalalitha became the chief minister. She said, if you do not put water harvesting in every one of your houses, I am going to cut your electricity. Believe me, it worked. Today, I get groundwater at 10 meters. The saltwater situation near our area, which is seashore, is more or less is vanishing. So the question is, you require a will and a measurement system. Unfortunately, there was a measurement system, and that is going back. And I'm also not very sure many of the so-called harvesting structures what has been created back. Some of us we are interested, so we maintain it. Others, I don't know, and I don't see any measure from any government system to ensure that these are working. I mean, there's no check and balance there. Then I think I'll just skip this. The biological filtration, vegetative filter strips, I think I'm going to leave it to some of your experts, because some of them are working extremely well in certain pockets. And I genuinely believe some of this can help even in certain parts of agriculture. I don't say it is applicable for everything. Okay. We talk about, whenever I talk to anybody, we talk about drips and simpler. But I think I want to tell people is, gentlemen, this has become too old to talk about. The drip is a drip. What does it actually do? It only gives you a little water. Beyond that, it is not anything different. Once you put a drip, then you think I don't have to do any further improvement. Hamara kaam ho gaya. Hum drip dal diya, hum water save kar diya. I think that is where the problem is. Unless something like a drip is also has a feedback loop, which says that I will only put water as and when there is a need for water. The drip is going to be just a dead system. It is not a system which is intelligent. And that's what all of us do. Because it has been subsidized, people are happy to buy it and put it. And then they think, I'm drip use kar raha hai, so that is my end. But the better thing will be actually give water for the plants as needed by them. So that is all what they need. And the balance you don't have to waste. Weather forecasting, micro and macro, I talked about. Automated irrigation systems, I am going to link it up with, again, some of the... No, we talk about remote sensing via drones and satellites. Unless this gets converted into the crop health and the need for crop asking for water, that is the technology. There is a technology. I'm going to come back to it in the end. Unless these things really take all the discussion we are going to do, that I'm going to say water and agriculture may not produce the effect, the kind of effects we are expecting, that we will stop the deterioration and actually we will improve. See, what we need is to improve, not control deterioration. Control deterioration is only a small step of not going too fast to our end. Then mapping and data layers is interesting. I genuinely hope when the Ministry of Agriculture is going to come out with the new consolidated, I don't want to call it Vistar, that's another application. I think with the entire mappings, what they are planning to do, we will get some of these things directly available for the farmer. I said, I as a farmer would love to know what can I grow based on what the water I have. It is not what will I grow and I go searching for water. Somebody need to handhold it and tell him, Baba, yeah, this is the best thing what you can do, rather than trying to do something you have been doing because that time you had plenty of water. So it is very important to tell the farmers upfront what is his water availability. Now, this is another very interesting thing where I think a lot of work is being done is soil moisture probe and tensiometers. Now, the question is, I know some of the farms have done it, and they tell me, especially the plantation people have done it, the vegetable growers have done it. And there is a set who tells me, sir, I am getting some benefits because I'm able to control the water based on the need. I know there is another set of people say that Sab ye kaam nahi kar raha hai. No, I think this is an area I think we need to really start working. How do I get an ability to actually tell what the plant needs? The one more area which people talked about, the canopy temperature sensor, much more effective when it comes to greenhouses, much more easier to maintain it. But it can also help and determine plant stress resistant trigger irrigation before visible wilting. See, again, the most important aspect is knowing that the plant wants water and then giving the plant the needed water, rather than giving the water when plant takes a little, lot goes to the weeds and the balance goes waste. Now, two things. I'm going to leave this to the people I'm sure are much bigger scientists here. They say the ABA measurements can actually signal the need, whether the plant needs water. They also talk about peptides and proteins that change based on the need of water and shortage of water. The question is, can we measure it? Other question is the electrical signals coming out of roots. I know two people who have done this well. One is the Australians, which I'm going to talk about it. At least they have come out with some solutions, need to be implemented and looked at. See, every root and plant, I understand, I've been told, because I'm not an expert. A lot of things is what I've been told and what I read, is that they exhibit potential changes in their electrical impulses based on drought, salinity, and even a mechanical pressure which is exerted on the soil. And this can be detected using very specialized sensors. And they talk about osmosis methodology. I'm going to come to that. One is we talk about hydrogel use. I don't really want to get into that. Yes, the advantage of a polymer in the hydrogel use, I still say more better for areas like vegetables, etc. Is yes, it retains the water and it can release the water. But will it release the water based on the what the plant needs? No. Then next thing, solar power irrigation, I'm going to park it because it actually cuts down the cost for the farmer. If there is in a place like India, solar power can and must be used. Farm management software is an integration of all the sensors and equipment, and finally centrally controlled. We've done this in closed atmospheres like if I'm going to get into a greenhouse and high value and produce, we have done it well, it works very well. Not so great when it comes to genuine normal cropping and etc. Definitely not for rice or wheat, because you're talking about much larger areas of coverage. Yes, this is a very interesting concept. I've seen this. I requested, I was with the CRISAT recently, talking to the DG. I said, it may be a good idea to bring it into India and test it. What they have done is it's a nano tube which actually gets buried. And the tube is basically has a material which can release water based on osmosis and also based on the root signal, electrical signal generating out of the roots. The people I met them, I think it was in Orange Country, part of University of Sydney. They told me that by using this, they have cut down the water usage to 1% of what is normally needed from drip irrigation. I said it's a very interesting thought process. And I know this is not not for things like rice or wheat, but why can't we look at for plantations and also vegetables, where your semi-permanent or permanent vegetation, which can be an interesting area. I think we need to do some more research on it. I hope to connect ICRISAT and the people concerned. I think ICR also can come into this, actually test this out and said if it is really worthwhile, you're really talking a very different ball game. And these are not one-time use ones. You can bury it and leave it. Only thing you have to plant the next crop closer to it. Then I talked about we talked about hydrogels. Now they're talking smart hydrogels, which actually has a similar property, and that will only release water based to root chemical cues. The other thing is, I mean, I talked about AB and osmotic. Some of these are already covered. Next. I think Switzerland is actually using vital signs for commercial biosensor detecting plant electrical signals. There have been published papers on it. They said they have done this, and I suggest let us look at this. I do not know whether everything will work in there. Again, I absolutely talked about earlier. They also done root signal triggered irrigation in potatoes and maize in Israeli research. And some of you have been working in Israel. I don't know how many of you looked at it. And I understand ICRISAT also tested crop-based irrigation signal based on canopy strength and soil moisture. So I think there is an abundance of knowledge, and there have been some case studies to prove that we are looking at varieties which are very different than what you are talking about. Methodology is different than what you are talking about. Question is, are we taking it forward? Now, to be honest with you, our own case studies, right or wrong, whether it is PMKSY or HKPP or more proper drop or AIPB, every single thing what has been written down here, everything actually aims at all the points what we talked. There's absolutely no doubt about it. There are people who understand what is the stress, what is the problem, what is happening in India. But the question happens is, once you do it, do you continue to measure it? I'm going to come to that last. So I will just park this case studies there. Then, of course, the national water carrying rice cycling in Israel is one of the most famous examples. And Israel is extremely famous for water uh, management. Australia has done extremely well for water cycling in urban area. Because remember, despite of we talking everything, Australia is really short of potable water. Then Singapore new water program, I think that has been talking about quite a bit. They consider it a very successful program. And my request is, some of us need to get into details and see, will this help our conditions? The other two, I'm going to leave it because they're all very similar things. They're all available in this in our websites. Okay, the first question I tell you is two very important aspects if you want to save water. Value water. Price water. I know people are going to kill me when I say this. But my genuine belief is if you don't price the water and incentivize less usage, we are not going to reduce the water usage. Because if you do not value it, give me one good reason what is my incentive to save for my future, not my future, maybe the second or third generation future. Humko kya jata hai? The fundamental question is I am not affected. It doesn't give me any benefit. I am not saving anything. I mean, I'm telling you a typical human mentality. Yeah? Political mentality is also very same. I am going to be in this country and I wanted to have this 3 years or 5 years of this thing. I will make it. So this is a thing. And private partnership also have a problem. I tell you why. What are the challenges? See, we talk about fragmented land holding. I'm not even look at fragmented land holdings as a consideration here. My biggest worry is lack of awareness, because lack of awareness, I told you, is also I'm going to link it to the value. People talk about high cost of modern systems. Gentlemen, India need to move towards agriculture as service. If you do not go to agriculture as a service, tell me which farmer needs to own an equipment when he's going to use it for 20 days in a year, or you got 2 crops, 20 plus 20, he's got 3 crops, 20 plus 20 plus 20. Give me one good reason why should I buy anything, even if I'm going to use for 60 days, why should I own it? Why can't it be given as service? And unless we start pushing this, the policy, the agriculture policy makers start pushing this, we will go on talking this. So I'm saying high court modern system is not a problem. What it costs to the farmer to use is the question. If a high cost modern system can actually reduce the cost to the farmer, what stops? Institutional bottleneck is also linked to that. I will never like to bring in, or even a private system will not bring a modern system, because I don't think I can sell it anywhere today, because I do not have an infrastructure of creating a agricultural service. Drones came. They wanted to create an agricultural service. We talked about Didi system of drone, but somebody are working very close. I know they slept for 2 years and they are trying to catch up numbers in the last year. That is not the solution. I'm not naming people, but I know exactly what has been happening. Then people say PPP cooperation. Very simple. PPP cooperation means you want the industry to cooperate with the government or the local body. And gentlemen, tell me which industrialist. I'm also part of industry, so I can crib on that. Which industrialist is wanting to look for a long term? Today, the average age of a CEO is 3 years to 5 years. वो साल में उसको क्या चाहिए वो करता है. Same problem with the politicians. So you got a fantastic match. Both the people have 5 year duration. They will like to do what is the best in that 5 years so that they can jump into the next position. Who is looking at long term? I think that is the question we need to understand. So I think if you want to get a PPP cooperation, I think there has to be a different thinking that it is long term, not the short term mentality we are having. One, I know it's an issue that at least can be, I genuinely believe it can be resolved. The biggest problem is state versus center priority. I don't even know where these things lie. People say, Pani, I know agriculture is no man's land. Agriculture is only a vote bank for everybody. And the same problem with water also. Everybody will talk about water big before the election. After elections, I don't know what is going to happen for the next 5 years. So I think the question is, how do you make it important for people that there is a necessity for all of us to work together to make this happen? How to break this bottleneck? My genuine feeling is, look at certain areas. Look at holistic planning at village and basin level. You need to create. Don't say do it on all India basis. I never say that. At least take every state, take 1 or 2 districts and start saying that ये हम करेगा इतना फर्क पड़ने वाला है. That is the only way we can showcase this. But let it be a long-term program with absolute clear measurements. You must focus on water budgeting. The question is, I don't know who's going to bell this cat. Is anybody willing to say that 1,000 liters of water I'll charge 10 paise? I doubt very much anybody is willing to make that statement. Because the minute you put a value to it, believe me, the consumption will come down. Everybody will start scratching their paisa pockets se jata hai, how do I save it? This is something, and I already talked about the free electricity, etc., which is actually working directly opposite to all the discussion what you are having. You allow to put in a borewell which will go for 2,000 feet because you will put a large pump and pump it out. That's also free of cost. What a fantastic situation, I've not seen such an oxymoronism in other than in agriculture. So I think what you really talked about it is, unless I think some of this thing, I think Dr. Kaur has already talked about, is please measure the actual usage. Please extrapolate, introduce conservation measures, reduction in usage, reduction in losses. I think we have no other way. Measure productivity per liter of water used. I think we talk about this a lot. Let me ask a question. Has we ever seen anybody talking that, yaar, इतना पानी में यूज किया, मैं इतना प्रोड्यूस किया, मैं इतना पानी में उससे ज्यादा मैं प्रोड्यूस कर सकता हूं? I have not heard this from anybody because we don't measure it. पानी में no value, so we don't measure it. Then every recharge, I think this Dr. Kaur talked about, increase recharge, increase holding capacity. So end day, your consumption should become lower than the recharge potential so that you actually start saving the so-called earth. So I said impose water cost, incentivize water saving. I don't, and incentivize water saving. I think that's the only way we can. The question always comes is it possible in the country like India with such a large population and our control systems are extremely good that we have rules, but we never ensure that it is followed. So this is a big question, but I think the time has come to really, at least the academicians and the people sitting here, we have to start these questions, ask difficult questions. Because otherwise, we tend to not ask difficult questions. People who are supposed to answer also very happy because they are not getting difficult questions. This is what I said. Please ensure. I think my end game is if you're using 1 liter and if you do 2 kgs, with a half a liter, can I do 3 kgs? That is, and it can be for different methods, not just water. It can be the selection of seed, it can be selection of fertilizer, it can be so many factors. But end game is measuring everything. Without the measurement, I think we are going to be in trouble. So I think we really talked about this is the start thing I started with. That is put the value to the water, measure everything, improve conservation, measure everything. And I think I really thank Dr. Syed for actually imparting these thoughts by a hammer onto my head. But I think it is important. It is very important. And I think this is where both as academicians, both are industrialists, and as the government people, I think we are really, really, really lacking. And we hope better sense will prevail so that all the effort that is put into the entire PMKV onward, that's 6 or 7 or 8 thing I put down, all this will help provided there is something called a measurement and there is something called an improvement. If you measure, great. If you have to improve, you have to maintain. Don't forget. Otherwise, there's no improvement. So the whole things comes into an SOP, and somebody has to be held responsible for all this. Thank you, gentlemen. I think let me say that. So I said total water management is the key word, and somebody has to hammer it and say, I am charging you water per liter because without water there is no life. So it's a question of life or death. So better charge for life. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kesavan. It's very interesting to listen from a person who travels a lot and who already is in a lot of committees and knows. There is something what you told is just two line from me. Uh, the what you told about charging water or changing the government policies is not in our hand. But I have one point that can help. You see, more water has less production. I know, for example, in AWD, you get 30% water less, but also the yield is increased by 15%. It's proven by the SCR scientists only. And I have seen loss in Maharashtra 2 years back when the rain happens. We know that whatever they irrigated also. So water is more, the yield is less. So, for example, even direct seeding also gives less water but more yield. So probably farmers can be tempted if we can't change this policies and all. Still, farmers can be tempted if we can show them they can produce more with the water they are using, and with the reduce the water. How to reduce it in low cost? That one. Anyway, let me not stop on that. Let me see Dr. Ranjan Singh, please.
Sir, unmute.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you can
think
speak.
excellent presentations. I don't think anybody will disagree with the Kesavan on without measurement, we cannot improve the management. So, and both speakers emphasize that one. Now, can we make it as a professional slogan? Price the water. As our kind of a slogan for the association or for, I will say, for agriculture engineering profession as such. And try to get into all our students' body on a campus basis, college levels. I think you will, if we say that we have to educate the society, awareness, because I think the main issue is awareness that what is not pricing and overuse, misuse is causing us. So I thank you very much for excellent presentations. And we look forward to a paper coming out of all these presentation.
Ravi Pratap Singh, you may ask question.
Thank you, sir. Both the presentations were very informative. So thank you very much to both the speakers. I have a specific suggestion on pricing the water, because the political compulsions in India will never allow um, pricing or charging the water from the farmers, or charging for electricity from the farmers. So one of the solutions from the public policy perspective is that instead of charging it to them, we create a water market for them and develop an awareness by saying that if you have water budgeting is important, all those things are fine. But when we look at the water balancing study at the village and panchayat level, we inform the villagers that you have this much of excess water with you. Would you like to sell it? And here is the market for that. I think that is what will work, because otherwise we will remain in that what is called tragedy of commons always. So that will never be resolved. So rather than charging the water, I would suggest create a market for water. And Dr. Gajin Singh's idea is very good, that as an agricultural engineering profession, we should develop a slogan. But sir, I would suggest that we should all say, or we should all talk to our fellow agricultural engineers and say that create a market for water so that farmers can sell it and earn more money. Because in any case, they don't get much from their crops. So
But I think, Ravi Pratap, the thing is, agriculture engineers are very less in the field. In NRM activities, they are not there. Personally, I feel very sad. I not seen recharge. I asked who designed it, the center of the canal. No agriculture engineer. It was done by somebody. So the
That's
problem is
right.
agriculture is not like, even for this webinar series, how much I tried to collect the, it's tough. The soil water, so many institutes we have, but less people are coming out. So I suggest Gajin Singh told is correct, awareness. The professors must tell the students this is the problem. So it is the duty of the professors to tell the students. I know today's generation is different. We know all those stuff, but still, I think keep on repeating. Probably one thing. I think I'll take the next question. Suresh Kulkarni, please.
Sir, Namaskar. It was very, very interesting to ultimately come to water pricing. And very incidentally, the Central Water Commission and National Water Academy, just we had a 3 days, just last 3 days, a very intensive discussion on water pricing in India, in different states, including Punjab, Haryana, of course, Maharashtra and other states. Maharashtra, you see we have been talking, especially the economist, Dr. Vaidyanathan and others, they have given a lot of insight on how water should be charged. And there are a lot of studies also on that. Maharashtra has really this by establishing a water regulatory authority. So ultimately, we are thinking that there should be a water regulator like other countries. But our main, of course, issue is charging of irrigation water. That is a major. In other countries, it's not that major issue actually. So the Water Regulatory Authority of Maharashtra, where I worked for 5 years, we developed a very good water tariff system. I will not go into detail how it was developed, and it is one of the best in India. And now let me say that it is on volumetric basis. We are charging about, sorry, just a minute, maybe something wrong with me. Yes, sorry. So Maharashtra water charging, it charges about 12 paisa per cubic meter of water in Rabi season. It has, yeah. And for industry, it is charging 55 paisa per cubic meter of water. And sorry, for domestic purposes. And for industry, it is 11 rupees if it is a process industry. But if the water is used as a raw material, then it will be about 160 rupees per cubic meter of water. So there is a very elaborate procedure, and we are really see for very briefly considering time. The government of this water resource department recovers almost 2,000 crores of irrigation water charges.
And
2,000
Kulkarni,
crores.
does the farmers in Maharashtra pay for the water? Farmers pay
Pardon
for the
me?
water? Farmers, do they pay for the
Yeah.
water in Maharashtra?
Yeah, yeah.
Irrigation
In
water?
surface irrigation, there are two systems. Of course, as per Act, volumetric supply, and there are cutthroat flumes and standing wave flumes are there from last 50, 60 years actually. During Vishweshwar I have worked here, and Maharashtra is one state we have very
Okay.
robust kind of water measuring devices at the
That's
canal
good.
system. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I now just for groundwater, one of the irrigation project where farmers are using completely. So there are something like 500 pumps on one irrigation
Okay.
project.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
there
That's
they have.
fine. That's agree. I agree. Now the
Yeah.
Dr. Indra,
So
yeah.
just give me 1 minute, please. Just give me 1 minute. My point is there is a this means political economy and science, they don't go hand in hand, but they are just parallel, one thing. And last my observation is that our extension services, water in irrigation management or water management, there are no extension services in India unlike in other countries. So I think that need to be strengthened, extension services. Although we have an agriculture department, absolutely nobody stays, as talked by our speaker, the farmers are not advised how much water to be given like that. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Dr. Indramani?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Actually, both the presentations were very, very useful. And Dr. Kaur actually, presented again the water problem and water issues of Punjab, and she said that how the rice cultivation has increased over a period of time 10 times, and the wheat cultivation 2 times, and those are water guzzler crops, and the issues she talked. And Dr. Kesavan, as a tractor man talking about water, and that too he emphasized that value the water, measure the water, price the water. As a matter of fact, today or tomorrow, there will come that you have to value the water, measure the water, price the water. I remember one story of a society nearby my society in Dwarka, and they were getting during May June period 12 to 15 this tankers of water daily. Then society took a decision to make, because individual quarters are not metered, the water consumption is not metered. They took decision to meter the water of individual dwellers, and then price it. The immediately during those days, I'm talking about 5-6 years back, the water consumption came down to half. Just after putting meters, the water consumption in terms of tankers which they were getting, I'm talking about society. Even in societies, water measurement systems are not there at many places. So willingly we have to accept that yes, we have to measure the water, value the water, price the water. And like Dr. Suresh Kulkarni said, for canal water, pricing, he was explaining. And rather, this one that there is no system, agriculture department is not doing anything in Maharashtra. A lot of basically, Dr. Syed Ismail already associated with Pokhara and all this, program where, awareness programs are, Maharashtra is worst sufferer in even today. There has been whole, in different areas in Marathwada, there has been demonstration about water. In Sambhajinagar, once in 12 days. In Parbhani, once in 8 days, water supply is there. So that situation should not come in whole of the country. So now or never is the situation, and both these presentations explained that. What the Professor Singh, as he said, that how to take this to the we are all concerned about water, but those people who are not valuing it, price, those should be uh, uh,
they need awareness program, and I think this effort will, and through different mode, we will share these presentations, and and large number of people should at least through YouTube and all should see this, and they should they will definitely value the water. With this, once again, we thank both the speakers and for wonderful presentation, and all participants for they engage them in discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. See, tomorrow we have a program. See the screen. We have two good speakers. After tomorrow, we have one more next week also. That's the last. So we'll have this week
I
and
take
next week. Yeah.
Dr. Syed, I take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. M.L. Jat,
Yes.
another person who has been working hard for soil and water
Correct.
whole of his life. And so we congratulate Dr. M.L. Jat for getting offer, of Secretary Dare and Director General ICR. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, friends. Namaste.
Namaste.